Hello friends, we're going to be doing our topic 6 review, which is dividing decimals test review. So this will be what is on your test. So let's start. I took it, I blew it up out of the textbook, made it larger, and so it looks a little different than yours, but it is the same questions. Mr. Dodd filled the gas tank on his lawnmower with 3.8 gallons of gas. He mowed his yard 10 times on the same tank of gas. He used the same amount of gas each time. How much gas did he use each time? Here's question number 1. Write an equation to show your work and explain how the decimal point moves. So there's 3 parts to this question. So the equation is 3.8 divided by 10 because we have 3.8 gallons and we're dividing it by 10 times. Each time equals our gas. So I'm actually going to do number 3 before I do the answer. If I'm dividing by 10, I'm going to be moving the decimal point 1 spot to the left. Which makes it smaller. We're dividing, so it makes it smaller. So our answer is 0.38 gallons per time that you used it. All right, our next question. Kimberly scored a total of 35.08 points in 4 events. If she scored the same number of points in each event, how many points does she score? Write an equation to show your work. So the equation is, how would you solve it? All right, so we have 35.08, which is 35 and 800ths divided by 4 equals her score. So now I am going to solve. Over here we have 4. 4 does not go into we have to bring our decimal point up. 4 goes into 35 8 times. 4 goes into 30 7 times. There we go, moving that up. And it goes into 28 7 times with nothing left over. So her score is 8 77/100ths. Okay, our next question. I'm actually going to pull this out. Here, this might be a little bit easier. Choose the correct quotient for each expression. Use number sense and estimation to help. So 20, I'm going to do over here, 21.6 divided by 1.8. Actually, I'm going to get a separate sheet of paper and write it on the back. Or, we'll be able to write it on the side for now. I might be able to write it on the side. 1.8 to 1.6. All right, I'm going to use a different color. We're moving it over 1, moving it over 1, and my decimal point's up here. So it's 18, goes into 21 1 time. 18 goes into 36 2 times. So 12 is that answer. The next one is 55/100ths into 10 and 23/100ths. We're going to move this over twice, and up. 55 goes into 102 1 time. 47, bring down the 3. So now 55, I'm going to say, let's try 8. $440 would be 8. So I'm going to add a 0. Okay. 55 goes into 330. Let's try about 6, 7, or 8. I'm going to try 6 first. And it's 330, which is 0. So 18.6 is this one. Okay. All right, so this one, I'm going to do the work over here. 3.5 into 78 and 75 hundredths. Move it over 1, move it over 1 and up. 35 goes into 78 2 times. That's 70. Bring down my 7. 35 goes in 2 times. That would be 70 with 17 left over. Now, let's try 5. 22 times 5. I apologize. 35 times 5. I was looking up here. That is 25, 15, 175. So that means that it should be this one. However, I'm not going to just select it. I'm actually going to do the work. Just in case I made a mistake on the other ones. Move it over 1, move it over 1. 46 goes into 296. Let's see here. Let's try 6. $276, that would be 276. Let me try 4. 5 won't be enough. All right, so that would be 1.0 plus 0.5 plus 0.12. Add our zeros here. 1.62 divided by 3. So we can eliminate these two. Now, how do I know which one this is? I count how many are in here total. So there's tenths, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths. 1, 2, 3, 4. 54 tenths. In each number of groups. And that's total. Okay. If 8 ounces of canned pumpkin has 82 calories, how many calories is in 1 ounce? Okay. So we have 82 divided by 8. Oh, well, now what do we do? Here's something new. My decimal point goes here. Okay. And I add a 0. Okay. Actually, I'm going to bring this up here. Give me 1 second to recopy it. All right, so if you do not want to have a remainder, you can do a decimal point, okay? Bring down a 0, okay? Then it goes in 2 times. Bring down another 0, and then we have 5. So we have 10.25 per ounce. Now it says how many calories are in 6 ounces. So we would do 10.25 times 6. And then I would put 2 by the decimal point. So that would be 6 ounces. So, to review, you can keep going instead of having a remainder. I could have said I had a remainder of 2 ounces. Okay? But this helps you get more of an exact. I add my decimal point and I just keep adding my zeros. And that will give you an estimate. Not an estimate, but a more exact answer. All right, number 10. Use the equation 1.6 divided by n equals 0.016. Well, if I move the decimal point 2 places, I get that. So it's got to be 100. How do I know my answer is correct? I'm going to zoom out just a tad. How do I know my answer is correct? Because the decimal point moved 2 places to the left, meaning it was divided by 100. Or 10 to the second. All right. Our next one, Eileen bought 8 roses for $45.50, which is the best estimate to estimate the cost of the rose. So if I say 45 divided by 8 equals something, that's my actual answer. Now I have 2 choices. I could put this down to 40 and divide by 8. I could make this 40 and divide it by 10, but I get a chance of making it not as accurate if I change both numbers. I could also do 48 divided by 8. That changes my number less than going down to 40. It would only have to change by 3, and this does not have to change at all. So I would do B. All right, our next one is Toby. Toby's faucet drips a total of 1.292 liters of water in 24 hours. The faucet dripped the same amount each hour. Estimate how many liters his faucet dripped each hour. All right, so I'm going to cross out what I just did. And I'm rewinding. You won't see what I actually wrote. But here is what we should be writing. So we have 24 hours. We're dividing 1.92 into 24 hours. And so I can change this to 2. Okay. And I could do that to 24. Okay. So if I say 2 divided by 24 equals what? So my estimate, we would have to put a 0 because it doesn't go into 20. So my 0 would go there. Then I would add another 0. Bring down the 2. Forgot to bring down the 2 because it's 20. That goes in, let's see, 24 times. Let's do 8. That was pretty close. 192. 8. Bring down another 0. 24. 24 times 3 is 72. And that's going to keep repeating. So I'm just going to say it's about 8, 3. All right, so what I would continue doing is, so since this would be 80, this would be repeated. Okay, so I'm not going to keep going. I'm going to stop it here because it's going to keep going to being a 3. It would be 72. We would have 8 left over. It would be 72 and so forth. So it's about, if I was to do that, I would do 83 thousandths. All right, so I filmed this and realized you couldn't see it, so I'm going to go over it again. 24 into 1.92. I'm going to bring this up. 24 does not go into 1, so I put a 0. Especially with decimal points, we want to go through that. I had 9 left over. 1 left over. I brought down my 9. It does not go into 19. That is 0. That's 19. I go down, bring down my 2, 192. 24 times 8 is 192. So my answer is 8 hundredths, which is very close to our estimate of 83 thousandths. How is my answer reasonable? Yes, my estimate is very close. Now your estimate could have been a little bit more differently, but if it was way off from this, like you had 10 as your estimate, then it's incorrect, but it could be different estimates as long as it's reasonable. All right, number 13. For number 13, I'm going to make this A, B, C, and D. That way I know where my work is. So we don't need to have our work anywhere. All we have to do is move the decimal. So if I divide this by 10, it's going to be right here. If I divide this by 1,000, which is what 10 to the third is, 1, 2, 3, it would be right there. If I divide it by 100, which is what 10 to the second is, it would be right here. I accidentally marked that instead of up here. 1, 2, 3. If I move 3 spots, I'm going to end up with that answer. All right, our next one is 14. Diego is making a large mural. He draws a hexagon with a perimeter of 10.5 meters. Each side of the hexagon is the same length. So a hexagon has 6 sides, and all of them are the same length, okay? So we're going to do 10.5 divided by 6 equals the length, okay? How many meters? So I'm going to do 6 into 10.5. It goes, move that up. We have 4, bring down the 5. That goes in 7 times. 42. Add my 0, and that will be 5. So 1.75 is my answer each, because if I added 1.75, I would end up with, if I added it up 6 times, I would end up with 10.5. The total cost of the supplies to paint the mural is $38.70. Diego and 9 friends divide the cost equally. So that means there's 10 because it's Diego plus his 9 friends. How much does each person pay? So we have $38.70 divided by 10. So if I move my decimal point over here, it would be, and if it's money, then we do the first 2 decimal places, $3.87 each. Okay, number 15, select all the following equations that are true when 4.3 is used, or 40.3, my apologies. So if I was to divide by 1, that's dividing by 10. It would be 4.03. If I divided by 200, it would end up being 0.403, so that's correct. If I divided by 0, that would 10 to the 0, that means 1. It would be itself, that's correct. This is divided by 1,000. So I'm going to move the decimal point 1 to 3 places. So that is not correct. And if I divided this by 100, it would be 1, 2. So that is also not correct. Number 16, Louie's Diner spent $12.80 on 8 pounds of potatoes. What was the cost of 1 pound of potatoes? Okay, and then there's another, then we have to do 7 pounds. So 1, 48, it goes in 6 times. Bring down my 0, it goes in 0 times. Bring up my decimal point. So it's $1.60 for the first part. Okay. Now I want to find how much it would be if I did 7 pounds. So I want to multiply now. 42. It would be $11.20 for 7 pounds. Okay. 17. How many quarters are there in $30? Solve the equation using 30 divided by 25.25 to help you. Okay, so how many quarters are there in $30? We're going to move this over twice. We're going to move this over twice. Decimal point up here. That goes in 25. So we have to add zeros in here. That would be 5. Break down 1 0. That would be 2. That would be 50. Break down the last 0, 0. So 120 quarters is our answer. Okay. When solving 6.1 divided by 2, how is the decimal point moved? It is moved 2 places to the left. Division is the left. Multiplication is the right. All right, our next one is 19. A group of 5 friends bought a bag of grapes to share equally, and the bag of grapes weighs 11.25 pounds. How much is each person's share? So we're going to go and answer this question. This is question 1. That's question 2. Okay. 2, 5. Bring my decimal point up. Okay. So each person's share is $2.25, or not $2, 2.25 pounds. Okay. If each person's share was 1.25 pounds, how many friends could share the grapes? So this is the second part. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, 125 does not go into this, or this. It goes into 1,125. So I think I'm going to do like 5 or 6. That would be 15, 6, 750. Let's do like 8. 40. 16, 20. 1,000. Okay, so that would be 9. 1,125 would be 9. Because if I multiplied that by 9, we would get 45. 22. 1,125. So it'd be 9 friends. Those are our 2 parts. Our next one, when dividing 560.9 divided by 100, how should the decimal point be moved? 1, 2, 2 places to the left. Oops, right there. Okay. Our last one, this is actually 21. Mine printed only one. It says only one. June says that there should be a decimal point in the quotient before or below after the 4. Is she correct? Use number sense to explain your answer. So I'm going to find my after the 4. In the quotient after the 4. Okay, so they're saying that there should be a decimal point right here. So 1, 52 does not go into 43, but it goes into 439. 16, 41. Bring down my 2, 52 times 4, let's do 8, 208. 626. I have to add a 0. So my decimal point should be right here. So I don't have to keep going because I know my decimal point should be here after the 8, not the 4. But if I kept going, it brought down a 0 and it ended up being 5. Which it does. It'd be 8.45, not 84.5. All right, and if you have any questions on topic 6 or any of these, please let me know before you take the test.